Welcome to the 38th Annual Michigan Women's Hall of Fame Induction Ceremony, and thank you for joining us. I'm Carolyn Casson, President and CEO of Michigan Women Forward, a community development organization dedicated to making Michigan a more equitable place for women and girls. Welcome to the Her Story Museum. Some of you know this place as the Michigan Women's Historical Center and Hall of Fame, which just recently reopened its doors to the public after being shut down since last March due to COVID. During that time, we suffered a heartbreaking flood in January. In August, we reopened our doors once again and are excited to welcome small groups to our space here in Lansing. Because of the ever-changing circumstances of the pandemic, we're going to be doing today's ceremony a little differently this year. We're going to be celebrating and honoring our 6 newest inductees with you virtually. We're also hosting 2 in-person meet and greets for our local contemporary honorees, one in Detroit on Thursday, October 28th, and one in Grand Rapids on Tuesday, November 9th. Then we'll have one virtual meet and greet for Rosalind Brewer on November 11th. We look forward to safely celebrating this year's exceptional contemporary honorees with you at these meet and greets. Please sign up. This is the 4th year Michigan Women Forward has been responsible for the nomination, judging process, and hosting the induction ceremony. We're very proud of our role in finding and celebrating women who have changed the world for other women. Our mission remains the same as it always has: to honor and celebrate exceptional Michigan women and to educate and inspire the next generation of women leaders like the incredible ones being honored today. Proceeds from this year's Hall of Fame events support our Her Story program as well as our other programs that celebrate and honor women. Let's hear from some of the Michigan women and girls who have benefited from our work.
In the past 10 years, I started dreaming about opening a salon that had the capacity to service clients regardless of ethnicity, race, and gender. My vision was to create an environment that was warm and welcoming to all. Setting out to open my business felt like an uphill battle. I was having trouble accessing funding from any bank or other institution. I heard no 23 times. When I applied to Michigan Women's Forward for a loan, I heard my first yes. Carolyn and the entire Michigan Women's Forward team, they believed in me and they understood my passion. I attended their trainings, summits, and webinars where I developed my vision for creme brulee. What I love most about the Michigan Women's Forward team is that they value and respect my resilience and tenacity. They were the reason I didn't give up. Last year, the COVID-19 pandemic made more than a financial impact on my business. It impacted me mentally, physically, and emotionally because I had so many people relying on me and support through creme brulee. I received the Resilience Fund grant for Michigan Women's Forward, which provided support for outstanding operating expenses. I am so very proud that I have been able to create employment opportunities for just under 20 employees from the Metro Detroit and surrounding areas. We are excited to open our new location here in Midtown Detroit the first week of June. I am so grateful to the Michigan Women's Forward team for supporting my dream. I hope that you will come visit me and my team here at Creme Brulee for the most luxurious experience here in Detroit.
Now there's a donate button on your screen, and we ask that every single one of you support us so that we can continue our work, whether we are investing in women entrepreneurs, investing in our You Go girls so that they can blaze new trails, or our Her Story programs that help promote gender equity in Michigan. All of this only happens because of you. Thank you for your generosity and support of Michigan women and girls. Now, before we start the celebration, I'd like to take a few moments to remember and honor the founder of the Michigan Women's Historical Center and Hall of Fame, Dr. Gladys Beckwith. Dr. Beckwith passed away in December of 2020, leaving behind a legacy of being an audacious leader in the fight for gender equity. The impact of her work will continue to be felt through the beloved, long-standing museum and Hall of Fame we are now honored to care for. Please join me in a moment of silence, love, and appreciation in honor of one of Michigan's gender equity warriors, Gladys Beckwith.
Hi, I'm Gretchen Whitmer. I'm recording this message today with a heavy heart to honor Dr. Gladys Beckwith, Michigan's gender equity giant. She was the definition of a trailblazer, and the paths available today for women and girls in Michigan wouldn't be possible without her monumental achievements. The institutions she created, from the Michigan Women's Studies Association to the Michigan Women's Historical Center and Hall of Fame, helped establish us as a state that not only recognizes the important contributions of women, but values them. Dr. Beckwith, without doubt, paved the way for women who want to lead, and the reason Michigan is led today by 3 women is in large part due to her life's work. So I want to personally express my gratitude to Dr. Beckwith, her family, and all those here today who fought beside her. I can't wait to see how the Michigan Women's Historical Center and Hall of Fame, one of her greatest achievements and contributions to the state, how it continues to educate and cultivate future female leaders and allies. Today we honor Dr. Gladys's legacy and look forward to the work of advancing her life's mission and creating a truly equitable Michigan. Thank you, and solidarity to you all.
Thank you again to everyone tuning in this afternoon. It's hard to imagine a Hall of Fame induction ceremony without Gladys. We look forward to continuing to honor her legacy through our work.
Hi, and thank you all for joining us in celebration today. I'm Megan Bergman, the Program Manager for MWF's Her Story and You Go Girls programs, and I facilitate the nomination and judging processes for the Michigan Women's Hall of Fame. The nomination process is open to anyone who would like to honor the exceptional Michigan woman or women's group in their life. It is now an electronic form that can be found and completed via our website, miwf.org. There are tips and tricks available with examples from previous winning nomination forms to ensure you craft a nomination form with the best chances of doing well in the judging process. This year's judging panel was hand-selected to ensure that the panel reflected the diversity of the women who are nominated. They apply an objective rubric to score each nomination form individually, and then deliberate the highest scores to see who should be presented to the board for approval for induction. We had an incredible cohort of nominees this year, and we are so grateful to our dedicated judging panel who gave their time and energy to evaluating this year's inductees. Thank you for your support, judges, and thank you to all who nominated and who are planning to nominate in 2022. It's because of you we are able to make Her Story. Now, let's get to the reason we're all here, meeting and celebrating this year's honorees. We will begin by introducing the historical honorees. The historical category honors the contributions of women who are no longer with us. This year's nominations in the historical category were outstanding, making the judging panel's deliberation a difficult one as their scores were all within a few points of each other. You will see very clearly, however, why the 3 historical honorees chosen are being inducted this year. Let's meet them. First, I'm honored to introduce Judge Lila Neuenfeld and thank the Women Lawyers Association of Michigan for their nomination. Judge Neuenfeld was the first woman circuit court judge in Michigan, and at the time of her swearing in, was the youngest woman in the U.S. to become an attorney. She is known for fighting for married women's rights to use their birth name in professional capacities, and for mentoring other women lawyers and judges as they rose in their careers, including Michigan Women's Hall of Fame inductee, Judge Cornelia Kennedy. Please enjoy this video commemorating Judge Neuenfeld. All videos were produced and filmed by our wonderful friends at Comcast.
Judge Lila Neuenfeld was born in 1902. She was born in Lewiston, Michigan. Her sister lived in Highland Park, and Judge Neuenfeld thought that she would have better opportunities in the Metro Detroit area. She was a true trailblazer. When she graduated from law school, she was very young. She had to wait until her 21st birthday in order to be admitted to the bar. There were several articles that announced that she was the youngest female attorney in the United States. She was the youngest woman to be elected Justice of the Peace in Michigan, and she was the first woman to be elected a circuit court judge. In addition to experiencing gender discrimination and age discrimination, had to work very hard to convince her voters that she was someone worth taking a chance on. She was an inspiration to other attorneys and judges who followed behind her. Judge Neuenfeld showed that women can be competent jurists, and Judge Neuenfeld also made several advancements in allowing women to not have to use their husband's surnames when running for office or professionally. The Women Lawyers Association of Michigan is honored to induct Judge Lila Neuenfeld into the Michigan Women's Hall of Fame.
I am now thrilled to introduce Fanny B. Peck and thank Lydia O'Neill and the Detroit Bethel AME Church for their nomination. Ms. Peck was the first president of the National Housewives League and founder of the Detroit Housewives League, where she led a team of women determined to create better conditions for their communities and the next generation of women. She created the Fanny B. Peck Credit Union, which gave African Americans in Detroit the chance to create financial legacy, start their own businesses, buy a home, and send their children to college. She also created the first cemetery for African Americans in Detroit and picketed the Midwest meat packing industry to allow average citizens to be able to afford meat for their families. What an incredible woman.
Fanny B. Peck was an American hero, a civil rights activist, a humanitarian, a businesswoman, and entrepreneur. Most importantly, though, she was the founder and first national president of the Detroit Housewives League. She married a young pastor, William Peck, and began moving around the country at various posts that he would obtain. In June of 1928, William receives a prestigious appointment in Detroit to be the presiding pastor over the Bethel AME Church. In 1930, William founds the Booker T. Washington Trade Association, and Fanny starts the Housewives League later that same year. Fierce and fearless, the women of the Detroit Housewives League ensured local white-owned businesses hired Black workers, and if they refused, they made sure everyone in the neighborhood knew to boycott those establishments. The Housewives League grew quickly, attracting thousands of women, and soon became a national organization with Fanny as its first president. Within a dozen years, it had expanded into 25 cities across America. They encouraged women to use the power of the pocketbook to support Black-owned businesses. Fanny also founded the Fanny B. Peck Credit Union in 1936. It operated for years until its closing in the last decade. Fanny also helped found an insurance company, providing medical and life insurance to African Americans at a time when most were denied insurance of any kind. I think the biggest lessons that we can take from Fanny's legacy is to never stop fighting for justice, to be of service to each other, to stand up for what is right, and know that every single person has the power to impact change. Say her name, Fanny B. Peck. It is my honor to induct Fanny B. Peck into the Michigan Women's Hall of Fame.
Last, but certainly not least, I introduce Sarah E. Ray and thank Desiree Cooper for her nomination. Miss Ray, also known as Mrs. Haskell, was an African-American civil rights activist who, in 1945, was denied entry on a ferry operated by the Bob Lowe Excursion Company. She initiated a legal battle against the company via the NAACP, which eventually ended up being processed by the United States Supreme Court. The court ruled in Ray's favor, setting her case as a precursor to Brown versus Board of Education. After the Bob Lowe Company versus Michigan court case, she went on to create the Action House in Detroit, which helped to empower Black youth in the city and offered spaces for recreational activities. Again, another incredible woman.
Sarah E. Ray, she was a bit fiery as a young woman. Outskirts of Chattanooga, Tennessee is where she was raised, and came to Detroit in the 30s as part of the Great Migration North. She was married at the time, and she immediately enrolled into secretarial school. She really wanted to further her education. She was celebrating her graduation. She was the only Black in the class, and there were 12 of them all together sailing to Boblo Island to celebrate their graduation. When it came time for Sarah to hand over her ticket, officials from the boat came and said that she would have to leave the boat because they did not serve, this is part of their official language, that they did not serve Negroes or Zoot suitors, which I think was a synonym for gang members or young hooligans. Sarah refused to leave, so she was ejected from the boat. She threw their money back into the water, refused to take the refund. She went to the NAACP, filed a lawsuit. She was kicked off because she was Black. Now, mind you, the fine was only like $25, which they could have paid and gone on about their way. Instead, they ended up in the U.S. Supreme Court in 1948, and the court ruled in Sarah's favor, affirming all of the lower court decisions. This was a stepping stone to what would eventually be Brown versus Board of Education, but years before Brown, years before Rosa Parks, in fact. One of the things that amazes me about her story is that so few Detroiters know that story, even though so many remember fond times, great times on the Boblo boat. It's my honor to induct Sarah E. Ray into the Michigan Women's Hall of Fame.
Now it's time to meet our 2021 Contemporary honorees. Like the historical nominees, this year's cohort of contemporary nominees was outstanding, and it was a joy learning about all of them. But as you'll quickly learn, this year's inductees are truly Hall of Famers. The first inductee we are honoring is Miss Rosalind Brewer. With her appointment in 2021, she became the only African-American woman CEO of a Fortune 500 company. This company being one many of you may know and benefit from frequently, Walgreens. She was also the first African-American to lead a Walmart division as president and CEO of Sam's Club. While at Sam's Club, she made a $13.6 million commitment to women and minority business owners by increasing their access to capital via the company's Small Business Economic Mobility Initiative. This commitment to marginalized communities through the creation of diverse and inclusive workforces has been a consistent theme for her in all her leadership roles. Ms. Brewer lives and works in California now and is accepting her award virtually.
When I think about Roz Brewer, there are so many words that come to mind. In fact, I made a list. She is a natural leader and inspires others and attracts them to her, which is why she can lead so effectively. She's strategic, she's brilliant, she's warm and caring, incredibly hardworking, she's incredibly elegant and has gravitas, and she shows great humanity every day. Roz grew up in Detroit and is a graduate of Cass Tech High School. I believe she is the first in her family to go to college. She was a chemistry major, worked at Kimberly-Clark for many years, starting in the science part of that work and then moving into leadership roles. And after that, she went to Walmart and moved her family to Arkansas. Worked as a leader at Walmart, including CEO of Sam's Club, and then moved to Starbucks as Chief Operating Officer. And we were fortunate enough to have her now at Walgreens Boots Alliance as our CEO. The minute she joined Walgreens, she went to the front line, she went to our stores and made sure that people knew that she was there with them and to support them during a very difficult time. That is who Roz is. She's an authentic leader. She cares about the people in the organization. She's not afraid to get her hands dirty, really understanding the jobs that they do and making sure that she's there for them. I think as an African American woman, Roz faced challenges throughout her career. I've often said that for diverse candidates in leadership roles, you have to be perfect. So she had to be extraordinary, which she was. But I also think, she took on very tough jobs, including her current job at Walgreens Boots Alliance in the middle of a pandemic, and really was able to ramp up the vaccine work in an amazing way, working both with the administration in Washington, D.C., as well as on the front line in our stores. Roz is a natural mentor. People gravitate to her. She welcomes them and helps develop them. And one of the things we've seen at Walgreens Boots Alliance in her short time as the CEO is she is a talent magnet. People want to work for Roz. And in fact, even in a tough environment in terms of recruitment of staff, we are having a very positive experience because of Roz Brewer. She has achieved remarkable things in her life, including now being one of the very few African American women who have ever led a Fortune 500 company. And in fact, she's leading a Fortune 20 company. Congratulations, Roz, on your induction into the Michigan Women's Hall of Fame.
Hello, and thank you to Michigan Women Forward, their entire organization, and the Board of Trustees for honoring me with this recognition. I am thrilled to be inducted into the Michigan Women's Hall of Fame in 2021. I would also like to congratulate all of this year's fellow honorees. I am humbled to be recognized alongside you. I'm originally from Detroit, graduated from Cass Tech High School, and my parents worked in the automotive industry and paved a path for my 4 siblings and me to attend college. It would have meant so much for my mom and dad to see me make the Hall of Fame in our home state, so thank you. Although I no longer live in Detroit, my heart is there with you in all of Michigan as I record this message at Walgreens Boots Alliance's global headquarters outside of Chicago. I know the vision for Michigan Women Forward is to create an inclusive economy for the state of Michigan so that all women and girls can reach their full potential. I've been asked to share some advice for younger women. Many young women watching this may come from communities just like where I grew up. This is especially for you. Please dream big. Don't place limits on your dreams or your aspirations based on others or society's expectations of you. Be your whole, authentic self and bring both your head and your heart to your decisions in studies, schoolwork, and careers to achieve your dreams. I've been fortunate to have achieved many of my dreams, with more to come. In my life as a leader, a mother, a wife, a sister, a soror, and a friend. I could have not done so without the encouragement, support, and friendship of many, many strong women from Michigan. Thank you again for this special honor.
Our next honoree, Diana Seeger, is the president of the Grand Rapids Community Foundation, a position she has held for nearly 34 years. Under her leadership, the assets have grown from $35 million to nearly $400 million. She has also led the GRCF in the creation of initiatives such as the LGBTQ Fund, African American Heritage Fund, and the Challenge School program. She is known to be outspoken within her community on many issues relating to gender equity, and is stated to have prioritized racial justice within the GRCF, which has positively influenced other foundations. Let's hear a little more about this phenomenal woman.
Diana Seeger is the president of the Grand Rapids Community Foundation, a position she has held for more than 34 years. Diana's advocacy for women started early in her career. From a young college student in the 1970s to her leadership role today, she has paved the way for women to ascend to leadership positions. Early on, Diana worked in Governor Milliken's office and then the Michigan Department of Labor. During that time, she participated in creating the Office of Women in Work. She advocated for more equitable laws and practices relating to employment issues. When Diana started with the foundation in 1987, it managed about $35 million in assets. Under her leadership, it has grown to over $400 million in assets, enabling the foundation to invest in critical issues that touch countless lives. Diana is courageous. She uses her courage to immerse herself in knotty issues in our community. She takes risks when needed and innovates, develops, or enhances methods to resolve those issues. A recent example of such collaboration was Diana's lead in responding to the COVID-19 health crisis. Not only did the foundation raise significant funds for a COVID-19 recovery fund, Diana helped lead the way in putting funds to work. For over 20 years, Diana had been convening Area Foundation CEOs monthly. She stepped up those meetings and included partnerships with the City of Grand Rapids and Kent County to leverage federal, state, and local public resources with those of the philanthropic community to determine where help was needed and to provide that assistance. Diana has been outspoken on issues relating to racial, social, and economic justice long before it was popular. This includes speaking out continually in matters pertaining to the treatment of women and advocating for equity in all aspects. Over the years, Diana has helped the foundation evolve with initiatives such as the LGBTQ Fund, the African American Heritage Fund, and the Challenged Scholars Program to help shape the fabric of our community now and for years to come. It could just be Diana's big heart, but she makes time to coach, mentor, and support women throughout our community, especially young women of color. This helps them take a seat at the table and speak up. She helps them with networking and she celebrates their successes. Diana is kind, she's a friend, she's respected in our community, and she has done so much for our community that we are very thankful. Congratulations, Diana, on your induction into the Michigan Women's Hall of Fame.
Thank you, Michigan Women Forward, for this wonderful award. I'm truly honored. Being inducted into the Michigan Women's Hall of Fame is the highest honor I have ever received. Over the last 40-plus years, the phenomenal women inducted include elected officials, celebrities representing sports and the performing arts, judicial leaders, philanthropic leaders, and women leaders from many other fields. It does take my breath away. As a young child, I was terribly shy, growing up in a Detroit suburb. But that shyness faded away when witnessing racism back in the 1960s as the civil rights movement took hold. I knew I had to speak up, even though I was not directly affected. My life's ambition was and is to eradicate the ills that have plagued our country for centuries. I knew that I needed to be one of the many voices for racial, economic, and social justice. The 1960s also experienced the rise of advocating for the rights of women, igniting my passion. Tremendous strides have been made in the past 50 years, and we will keep on pushing as we need to be strident in our efforts. As all of you know, Dr. Gladys Beckwith was the founder of Michigan Women's Study Association, the Michigan Women's Historical Center, and the Michigan Women's Hall of Fame, which is now merged with Michigan Women Forward. Our stories need to be heard. While the women who have come before me are genuinely remarkable, there are four who stand out personally for me. Hilda Patricia Kern was my field supervisor back in the late 1970s in the then formed Office of Women in Work and the Michigan Department of Labor. I was pursuing a Master's of Social Work degree, and Pat was my beacon. And she was definitely and is not shy. Pat was sometimes the lone voice in Lansing to speak out for women's rights, equity for displaced homemakers, comparable worth for women, and providing the backdrop against sexual harassment. Margaret Sellers Walker was instrumental in my life as a mentor who addressed social justice in her volunteer and professional capacities. She taught me so much. It would have been a mistake to think that her quiet demeanor would equate to a person who was a pushover, as her voice was forceful and pointed as she spoke out about racial justice. Dorothy Johnson was one of the Council of Michigan Foundation's founders and is the leader extraordinaire of philanthropy nationally and globally. If you've ever been in Dottie's presence, you know that she's a force beyond the beyond. Helen Clater was the national YWCA leader who was instrumental in creating the Y's national imperative in 1970 that is renewed every year, which is the elimination of racism wherever it exists and by any means necessary. I am grateful to the woman and friend who nominated me, Peggy Murphy, who personifies the behavior and meaning undergirding the foundation of the Michigan Women's Hall of Fame. The women who wrote support letters are my heroes, and I'm indebted to them. They represent many different generations and backgrounds, which gives me hope for our future. Indeed, this has been a tough year and a half. We will get through these challenging times and never slide back to the way things were before the COVID pandemic and those practices and policies that held us back as women. Our voices are strong, our voices are meaningful, and our voices are shaping a promising future where justice will prevail. Thank you to all of you. I am so very grateful.
Our last contemporary honoree we have the pleasure of celebrating today is Miss Deborah White Hunt, the co-founder and artistic director of the Detroit Windsor Dance Academy. She has been awarded several honors for her community development work, including being granted a Milken National Educator Award, being named Michiganian of the Year, and being named a Crain's Notable Woman in Nonprofits. She also was awarded a Kennedy Center Fellowship and Kresge Arts Fellowship. Deborah established the DWDA mentoring program, which has trained over 300 student dancers and classroom assistants and business assistants. From this program, there have been more than 10 young women who have opened successful dance studios throughout the greater Detroit community and country. And several students have realized their love for teaching through being a student assistant and are now teaching locally and throughout the country and world. Let's hear more from someone who knows her best.
I've known Deborah White Hunt for 40 years. 36 of those I've been blessed to be her husband. If I had to describe her, it would be passionate, determined, caring, enthusiastic, and diligent. Dance has been her lifelong passion, but it has been her determined, caring spirit and her love for people that impressed me the most about her. Deborah is a product of Detroit Public Schools. Graduating from Detroit Mumford High School, she started dancing at the age of 10 at the world-famous Kronk Boxing Recreation Center. She participated in girl dancing groups there, but her formal dance training really began at Michigan State University. After attending a performance of the Dance Theater of Harlem, the only black ballet company in the world at that time, Deborah realized dance was in her heart and it became part of her dream. Deborah began studying at DTH in New York in the summers. In 1984, she co-founded the Detroit Windsor Dance Academy, a now highly recognized dance institution in the city of Detroit, where she has served as artistic director for over 37 years. She has always used dance to inspire and motivate others. As a professional educator, Deborah has built a legacy as a renowned dance artist, a visionary, a master teacher, choreographer, arts administrator, head of dance company, and a head and co-founder of the dance school for more than 50 years. As a dance and physical educator, she has danced and choreographed on stage, television, videos, the silver screen, and the pulpits on 5 different continents. She has created over 50 ballets and over 100 dance concerts. In addition, she has seeded over 77 liturgical dance ministries. She taught and influenced the lives of over 15,000 students of all ages. She has also established a mentoring program that has touched the lives of over 300 students. Her mentees have established 8 dance schools, and her proteges are dancing and teaching all over the world. Over the years, Deborah White Hunt has been recognized as the 1990 Michiganian of the Year, a Milken National Education Fellow, a John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts Fellow, a Kresge Arts Fellow, one of Crane's notable women in nonprofits, the 1998 Women of Courage and Achievement Award for 2001, just to name a few. Congratulations, Debbie, for your induction into the Michigan Women's Hall of Fame.
Thank you, Michigan Women Forward, for this wonderful award. Greetings, everyone. Some people say life is a dance, and for me, that could not be a truer statement. I thank my ultimate choreographer who created me for such a time as this, and for all those cast in front of or behind the scenes who were responsible for my part in this magnificent moment today in my Act 70. Being here for this tremendous recognition is such a blessing. A special reverence to Michigan Women Forward for selecting me. I am forever grateful to the founder of the Michigan Hall of Fame, Dr. Gladys Beckwith. Say her name, Debbie. And to all the visionaries and dedicated women who followed her determination to bring women in Michigan to our rightful place. I am happy, honored, humbled, and very excited. My dance teacher at Michigan State University, Dixie Durr, told us that you're not a dancer until you fall. She said that until you experience the ultimate embarrassment, pain, and humiliation of something you profess to love, you have not had the entire experience. I'm thankful for it all, because through it all, I've made it to this day. I am therefore stronger, more resilient, with a lifetime of experience to give back to all I have been privileged to serve. For all of you who have shared the stage of my life, whether my husband, my dance partner of 12,672 yesterdays, 36 years, my biological family, rest in peace, moms and dads, my dance family and friends, sorority sisters, Jesus friends, Detroit's Windsor Dance Academy, choreographers, mentors, those who ministered a flag or praise tool. You who have pivoted or twirled or leaped, held my hand, supported me, or dried or shared my tears. On behalf of you, I accept this award. Thank you.
Hi, I'm India. I was a virtual visionary during the summer of 2021, and I just want to congratulate the 6 new inductees to the Michigan Women's Hall of Fame. Thank you for blazing the trails.
Hi, I'm Tamara McQueen. I was the program coordinator for the Virtual Visionaries program this past summer, and I am currently a master's student at Wayne State University now. I want to congratulate the 6 new Michigan Women's Hall of Fame inductees and thank them for their leadership and dedication to blazing the trail for a future of Michigan women.
Wow, what a remarkable class of inductees. Thank you all for joining us and warmly welcoming these 6 new powerhouse women to the Michigan Women's Hall of Fame. We dedicate this year's celebration in loving remembrance of the late Dr. Gladys Beckwith. We hope to have made her proud, knowing that Michigan Women's Hall of Fame lives on, despite a global pandemic and a flood. We know she's up there looking down on us and smiling. We also honor all 339 inductees and all Michigan women who are with us here today. You created our path, you gave us shoulders to stand on, and the courage to follow in your footsteps. We look forward to celebrating Michigan women for many years to come, and at the same time, working towards creating an equitable world where gender equality is simply a way of life. We welcome you to join us in this mission. Please reach out to us, contact us, or visit Megan in the Her Story Museum to tell us how you are contributing to the realization of this mission. We encourage you to come and take a tour of the Her Story Museum in Lansing and get to know your Michigan sisters. You can schedule a tour on our website, miwf.org, or stop in without an appointment on Tuesday and Thursday afternoons. Finally, we would like to thank our sponsors. Our mission would not be possible without your support. Your names are scrolling here, and you are the companies, the organizations, and the individuals who believe in celebrating and honoring women. We thank you. Thanks lastly to all of you for helping us celebrate our 2021 Michigan Women's Hall of Fame inductees and honoring our founder, Dr. Beckwith, who gave us all wings to fly and ensured that this celebration would continue to exist. Have a great afternoon.